Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wind. Here I'm playing all the holes from the second tee, giving you my best advice on how to crush the specific course that we are playing. But before we have a closer look at all the content, if you enjoy the free content here on the channel, hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel and click that bell button or the notification button. For those of you that are looking to take that little extra step, you shall look for our premium guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You do have the link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code. There we do have packages that ranges for all the different type of players in Golf Clash, all from tournaments to tour play to checkpoint challenge. You can find something regardless what game mode you want to improve on. You sign up, you try for yourself, and you see how we can help you become a better player in Golf Clash. Last but not least, in this playthrough, you can follow along by following the info box on the right hand side. Club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind, those are just suggestions, so you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's a plan behind it. Let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 7, in tailwind, we're gonna play on the right hand side, and the reason we're gonna do that is because we do want to get as close to the green possible, and if we do have a tailwind, this is the way to go about that. If we would be having a crosswind or a headwind, then we're going to have to play on the left on the fairway to just get as far down possible to open up for the green from distance. Adjustment, maximum distance plus 10, push up to max, and then we're gonna play full freaking blast overpower. Max top spin as well is recommended, and a bar or two side spin to the right. The reason we want to play with max top spin is, once again, to go as far down the fairway possible. Max overpower, and try to hit perfect. Bouncing on the fairway, and it rolls nicely down. Have in mind here that you can play with a power 4, power 5 ball as well to gain even more distance, which in my book are recommended. I'm showing with a free-to-play ball here to keep as much as possible free-to-play, but using a power 5 ball such as Berserker also is free-to-play. So again, the further we are on the fairway, the better it's going to be for the second shot. Because now you can see we're playing with a Grizzly here, but we are very close to min line with our Thorn, and if we can choose to play with a short iron over a long iron, we should be doing that all day and every day. Aim with the ball guideline to the hole here, and I'm using 10% elevation and then true club distance. So it's gonna be whatever the club distance tells you to be. So check where maximum distance line are and where the minimum distance line are, and judge yourself. Adjustments done, send to the ball, and hit perfect. Perfect ball here is gonna give us a very good chance, but unfortunately, you can see me hitting a great ball, and I do dislike great balls so much because it will never give us a chance for a drop if we haven't adjusted it wrong from the beginning. Perfect ball would have been super duper close if not going in the hole. So hole number 7 here is a really tough one, especially in headwind and crosswind, when we have to lay up and play with a wood club, with all the bunkers being in the way, then that's gonna be mainly a birdie. But if we do have a tailwind in any shape or form, and we can play the shot that we do have here in the playthrough, we definitely have a chance for an eagle. Hole number 2 offers many different ways of playing this hole. This is a more aggressive play for a rough bump, which is not as common, at least not in my playthroughs, and that's why I wanted to spice it up a little bit and show a rough bump here instead of going for the standard bounce up and roll back, which is also a way of playing. The bounce up and the roll back is on the left hand side, and using the slope on the green to let the ball fall back down into the hole. Obviously, that's not by doing a rough bump at all. So what we're doing here now is that we're aiming at the very edge of the rough line with a P8 ball, so a P8 min line. And from there, we are adjusting, and then we will land further back than where we aim, because we do have a headwind that will push the ball a little bit further back. So a headwind is absolutely perfect here to do a rough bump with. If we do have a tailwind, it may be a little bit problematic as we do pull down into the sand, and that can give us all types of bounces, and it's not something that I would personally recommend so much to be doing. So the rough bump. Now there will be players out there that are watching this thinking like, why do you always have to go this aggressive? However, though, when it comes to that type of thinking, the rough bumps are in general the best way of getting consistent drops on especially par 3s, but also on other types of play, because what it does is when it hits the ground, it minimizes the effect of the wind after it hits the ground. And that's why those are very interesting type of play for many players out there. However, though, like I said in the beginning, if you not fancy that type of play, you can always bounce on the left-hand side on the fairway, use the slope on the green to let the ball fall back down. It will have a chance to drop, absolutely, but it will not be as consistent as a rough bump on a general basis. Hole number 3 of the Southern Pines is absolutely awful in my opinion. This is where we are mainly playing for an eagle only. The only time we may go for an albatross, even though it will be an extremely tough albatross, would be if we do have some tailwind off tee. Now you can see I'm using the best club that I do have. I'm using the club with the most power and the most topspin possible. I'm using a berserker ball to keep the here free to play. However, though, if you have the possibility to use a topspin boost ball or something like that, that would be much better, because a topspin boost ball would obviously get you much further down the fairway. I'm not messing around really on the drive. I'm just putting it straight down the middle, as much topspin that I can, and I hit and I go max overpower. Knowing that even if I do have a shaky needle, I will still be able to hit a good left or a good right if so wanted. Now, here I'm playing just purely for a safe eagle, going on the right hand side. Here you can go on the left hand side as well. The tricky part with this is that you need to gouge the speed in the best possible way. If you come in with too much speed, you will roll into the back rough. And obviously, with not enough speed, you will get stuck in the first bunker. That's the tricky part here. So you can see I'm not even attempting getting this ball at the pin here, because I don't feel it's a realistic possibility to do so. Now, if we do have tailwind, we can use the tailwind to carry by using overpower and not have to deal with a shaky needle and stuff like that. Now we are by the end of the green. From here it is a short wedge for eagle. However, if you're playing this hole in a tournament or in a third play format, you will see many of the opponents struggling just making the eagle. So focus first and foremost, make yourself an eagle. If then the wind is very favorable and you're able to use very good gear and ball, then the albatross might be a possibility. Hole number 4 of the Southern Pines here from the second tee. This has always been a pretty tricky par 4, I must say. Not so much difficult in terms of what way to play, but tricky in the sense that they have not made the green as friendly for us Golf Clash players. Here, starting at the P6 max stress with the quarterback to set a consistent spin, which is 5 top spin, 3 right spin. Obviously, there are multiple ways of getting this drive down here, either to the left side or to the right side. That's completely up to you which way you want to go. Elevation, 10% elevation, so plus 10 is what we are using. And for this type of play here in this video, it's to just play it safely down the fairway, and then we will be relying on our sniper for the approach to attack the pin. If you do have a tailwind, you could consider smashing the ball much closer towards the green and have a much shorter second shot, such as a short iron or even a wedge or something like that. Now you can see the second shot, and I think this is the most common way of playing this hole nowadays, though, especially if you're going for the eagle. It's not the easiest way, though, because, it's the easiest way to attack the pin for an eagle, but it's not an easy way to play, because there are a couple of things that you need to take into consideration here, and that is When you do have a wind angle like this, for an example, you're going to adjust from a higher to a lower point, which means that you will be losing distance compared to, like, so where you're aiming now, you're going to land further back than that just because you're pulling down to a lower point. If you're not using a push-up or you're using some overpower to compensate. You can see here in the video that overpower is used as a compensation method. And that's the same, let's say that you're adjusting from a lower point and adjusting from a lower point up to a higher point, then that's also going to be something that's going to be had to be compensated for, because if you're adjusting from a lower to a higher point, then you will gain distance instead. A very important lesson to have, not just when you're playing tournament, but also when you play any other game mode in Golf Clash. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for expert and or master division for the Southern Pines Invitational Tournament. We are locked in and ready to give you the best guides on the market. Premium guides to give you an advantage over your opponents. For both of the divisions, we are focusing on more conservative and aggressive type shots, who are creating free-to-play ball alternatives and paid ball alternatives as well, so you can decide for yourself what type of shots you want to play. In Master Division, we do have our Master Light package. For those of you that playing purely free-to-play, it's a cheaper package as you only get access to the free-to-play ball alternatives. Definitely worth a look-see if you do play free-to-play. You sign up on patreon.com/golfclashtom. You have the link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code. For those of you that do want to dabble into the quick nines, we are doing some premium guides for quick nine as well, only for master though. You can check that out via the link in the description down below, called patreon.com/GCTquick9. Hole number 6 in the 5th anniversary tournament is going to offer us a tough par 3, but since we discovered rough bump here, we have actually been having a super good success with this hole. The important part here though is to avoid the glitchy spot, and to do that, it's gonna be obviously hard to do that all the time, but it's gonna try to do different type of spins regardless of what wind direction you have. This to try to get to the green at the same spot all the time. So using one backspin here, a little bit of left spin, you can see that the ball guideline go up the hill to fall down towards the pin, because that's the way to do on this hole. Medium distance, 10% elevation here, and I'm using a wind 4 ball here, which is important to have in mind here, because using a ball with higher wind could, especially in tailwind, makes you go in between club. That's why wind 4 is perfect here, and it doesn't matter if it's a wind 4 power 0, power 1, power 2, power 3, you should still have room to adjust there. Medium distance plus 10, it rolls up the hill, fall back down, right the pin for a beautiful hole-in-one on hole number 6. So for hole number 3 in the 9-hole cup, here we're gonna play with a power slice, and we're gonna use a 4 topspin, 2 right spin. I'm gonna use a tight. You see I'm stretching out to be just to the left of the brown rough patch there by all the trees. Max overpower, max curl to the right, and then full slice to the right. The idea here is to get the ball as far down to the right possible. You may be wondering, why do complicate it so much to go with a power slice? It's because I would say that's the only way to get to where we are now, and therefore the only way to get ourselves into a very good chance for an albatross. Let's say that you have headwind from tee, you can't play this type of shot, you're gonna have to then play just straight down the fairway and then transport the ball to green with a cataclysm or a big dog to make sure that you secure the eagle. So it's only gonna be an eagle play if that's going to happen. But if we do have tailwind, once again we can play the drive that I showed on screen, and then we get ourselves in a super good chance for an albatross. Measure the club distance to get the correct club distance here, and we're going to play this with 20% elevation. You see here now I'm measuring the club distance to see what type of range I'm in. I position myself here on the fairway. I'm not using any spin for this shot. You can obviously use backspin or topspin if you would like, but I like to play without any spins if I have room to do that, because it gives me a very natural first and second bounce, and that is easier for me at least to read. Once again, 20% elevation, center the ball, hit perfect, and this is going to be a super good chance for an albatross. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Can we get it? We can swirl it in from the right and 180 in the hole. I will take that all day and every day on a tough par 5, such as the Southern Pines. For hole number 7 of the Southern Pines, here we are playing on the left-hand side. If you do have a really nice and good going tailwind, you can actually bounce over the water on the right-hand side. The difficult part with the right-hand side is obviously the water, but also that the green slopes massively downhill. And there is a risk to get into a situation where you do have an impossible putt, and that would suck so much. And that's obviously not what we want to have. But with some risk, there is definitely some reward as well that you can be on the green or just by the green for a simple eagle. And now we lay up, we go left-hand side, adjust 10% elevation with true club distance. So in this case, we are roughly at mid-distance with our apoc, and that's what we're using as well. Don't have to play with a king slayer if you don't want to. You can play with a regular kingmaker and obviously other ball types, as the intention is purely to bounce over the rough and the sand, to have a consistent rollout without really flirting with any bunkers or rough whatsoever. Second shot, we are using our long iron here. Here's up to you to decide what long iron you want to play with as well, obviously. Grizzly level 9 or level 7 plus, I would say, is a perfect club to use. You can also use B52 level 7 or 8. The reason I'm saying a high level B52 and Grizzly level 7 plus is because it has a good ball guideline. Both of those sorts of clubs with those levels do have 4.5 ball guideline, and that will help immensely in terms of trying to aim here. Now, either you go for a ball to roll back down the green like that, or you're going directly at the pin with your ball guideline. That's completely up to you. It depends on what you feel works really well. At the end of the day, we're obviously looking to settle in for an eagle here, because this is a par 4 where there will be players shooting an eagle. The bounce on the fairway, up the bank, and then it falls down, and if we're a little bit lucky, get the ball to drop for the eagle. Hole number 8 of the Southern Pines can be played in many different ways, in my opinion. One way of playing is to go directly onto the green using backspin and attack the pin. I do think that's the safest way of playing this hole. I'm not saying it's going to be the best way all the time, but many of the times it will be the best play, because we obviously take away a bunch of bounce overs over the stupid bunkers and the roughs and stuff like that. So it really is taking away a lot of obstacles from play. Now, backspin and right spin and getting the ball, the aim to be on the green with the ball guideline through the hole. Adjust 10% elevation is what's being used here. And here you can see using a little bit of overpower as well, which is just before circle drop as overpower. This to compensate for the headwind, as it's otherwise going to land further back than what we want to. And it lands a little bit further back still than what we aimed, and the ball rolls down beautifully into the hole. Like I said, this is just one way of playing this particular hole. You can bounce over the bunkers with curl and a lot of side spin and stuff like that. So there are many ways of playing this particular hole nowadays compared to what it once were. Mainly as we now have many different type of golf balls accessible that we didn't have in the past. For hole number 9 of the Southern Pines, this is a long par 5, a pretty boring par 5, I would say. Here we would benefit immensely by having a power 10 ball to be used. In this instance, we are going to bounce over the bunker and the rough there in the middle, trying to get as far down the fairway possible. The further down we get, the better it's going to be, because we will be having a better angle. Now, I cannot stress enough how much of an advantage this type of hole will be if you do have higher level clubs and also being able to use a good ball. If you do have lower level clubs and are limiting yourself to, let's say, power 6 balls, this hole will be really complicated to consistently making an eagle, because we need to have in mind that we're not just going to have tailwind all the time. We're going to have some crosswind, we're going to have some headwind, and that's going to be really problematic. Once we do get down with the drive, we are using max plus 10 as the adjust. We are around 440 yards. Now for the second shot, here you can make a decision. We always make decisions, but in this type of scenario, we can either go for the hole doing an albatross attempt, or we are going right side of the rough, just landing the ball onto the green. If your intention is to go for a safe eagle, I would say play with the sniper. That gives you a better accuracy and a better ball guideline. If you do want to go for the albatross, and if you're not having distance enough, the cataclysm is most definitely a good club to use. Second shot with no elevation as the true elevation. Have in mind though that elevation will definitely fluctuate depending on what type of play you're doing. So don't steer yourself blind on the zero there. So make sure to kind of be adaptable, that you can make some changes and some switches to adapt to the type of play that you are deciding to play. If everything goes well, we clip the rough, we roll up onto the green, and in this case we are missing just on the right hand side, but at least we give ourselves a chance for the albatross. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division. Here you have seen me playing all the holes in the tournament with various wins, giving you my best advice on how to crush the tournament. If you're looking for more content, you can find more free content here on YouTube, but also on our website golfclashtommy.com. But for those of you that are looking to take that little extra step, look for our premium guides. You can find that on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You have the link in the description down below, or you scan the QR code here on the screen to go directly there. We do have packages that ranges all from $4 up to, whatever level you want to, and we do have premium guides for all the game modes. So do yourself a favor, sign up, try for yourself, and see how we can help you improve and have more fun with this game. You don't have to be a top tier player to sign up, because we do have packages for all the players that are playing this game. So check it out and see for yourself. Thank you very much once again for watching this playthrough. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.